not my ego. I think that when people want to coach thousands and thousands of people, it's all about ego. You know, like I have tons of clients. I don't want to have tons of clients. I want to have clients that I can create results for, right? So that's what I decided to do in that business. And so that's why that, you know, is just on maintenance mode. But, and then I do all the mastermind stuff. But, okay, how technical do you want to get? From a scale of 1 to 10, how technical? Do you want like the overview, you know, this is what this is, or do you want some technical help in getting your act together?
Technical help in how you're running your multiple businesses. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Crossing the streams, yeah.
I like what you said as far as like there is no work-life balance. Like,
yes. Yeah, no such thing as work-life balance, yeah. Yeah, I think there can be integration when you do some crossing of streams and stuff. Okay, so just deciding which way I want to go with this to help you all out. I still don't like how far away I am. I'm sorry about the camera. I'm very intimate. This whole thing is kind of weird. Okay, so tell me about some of your challenges in holding yourself accountable for your priority management or your time. I'll just say your time. I'll live with you guys for a few minutes and then we're going to switch it. What are some of the challenges you have?
I have too many good ideas. Like it's hard for me to prioritize that. And that's selfish, I know, but it's hard for me to pick which one goes.
Okay, ideas. All right, what's another? Keep going, guys. Too many to-dos. Okay. What else?
Haven't done a great handoff.
Handoff. Oh.
Still expect needs.
Oh, okay. Okay. I need the other one. That's going to die. Yeah, keep going.
prioritizing, scheduling,
What do you mean by prioritizing scheduling?
like how to structure my day.
Structuring your day. Okay. All right.
Learning new systems, but finding time to do that.
Okay. Yep, got it. I'm sorry?
Consistency.
Oh, yeah.
Being consistent with the actual schedule.
Yeah.
Not inconsistent.
Yeah. Got it. What else? What are some other challenges you have with managing your time?
There is no schedule.
Shiny objects, super
Shiny object, yeah.
SOS.
Yeah.
Like I'm juggling it all and I'm about to drop.
Okay. Good. Too much what?
Just too much. And honestly, everything feels like it's just too much sometimes. Overwhelming, yeah.
Okay. Overwhelm. Yeah. Chaos, overwhelm. Okay. What else? Is there anything else?
I know that you said there's no such thing as balance, but literally, like, I don't have time for my kids. Like, yes, how do you bring that back?
Yeah. I mean, that's a choice. That's what I'm going to tell you. I mean, can I give you guys some rough love too today? Is what I'm talking about, right? What do you mean you don't have time for your kids? You choose not to have time for your kids. There's a big difference, right? Okay, so I'm going to see if I can kind of get through a couple of these things. Too many to-dos, designating. Okay, so just give me a second here. I'm going to do something so that I remember what I want to talk about. Designating, structuring, so I can just draw this and I'll understand that. Right? Consistency. Okay, so I can do that. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to teach this. Overwhelming chaos. Okay, so priority. Gosh, it's almost like the same other class, wasn't it? Okay, shiny object syndrome. Yeah, stop. No, sorry. With shiny object, just stop. No. Ideas, too many ideas. Okay. All right, and to-dos. All right, bear with me while I tell some stories. Is that okay with you? That I can do that? Okay, I'm going to tell some stories. So the first story I'm going to tell is about laundry. Okay, the first story, I know I hate laundry. I hate laundry. I'm going to tell it about laundry because it's a metaphor for helping you understand some of the sort of the way I think, right? So when you do laundry, right, I'm talking about the dryer, right? When you take clothing out of the dryer, a lot of people fold it while they're there. Others put it in a basket and take it someplace and fold it. Others don't even fold it.
That's me.
It's on my couch for a week.
Mine's just in the basket, or it stays in the dryer.
Yeah, or it stays in the dryer, yeah. And you're digging and whatever, yeah. Right. So, why is it that we don't take out a sock and then run it. Let me go put the sock in the drawer and come back. It's what? It's what? Inefficient, yeah. Yet we do this all day long in our businesses, especially with our laundry list of things to do. When you have an aha moment, say aha or say breakthrough and write it down, right? Or what are you doing standing?
I was looking.
Oh. Oh, the reason I'm talking to him like that is he's my coach. And I'm like, what are you doing standing back there?
I understand you're not supposed to treat your coach this way.
Yes, I know. No, I love it. So the reason we don't do that is because it doesn't make any sense to do that, right? And yet we do that all day long by doing what? The first thing in the morning when we walk into the office? Email. You were in the last class. The email, right? That's a laundry list. Look at the puppies. Do you want to sponsor this? Can you take a look at this contract, right? And we just seemingly go right through that instead of creating some rules to get us to look at those things at a later time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is start creating rules that when things come in that are about puppy dogs or whatever, that or from a certain person, that you move them into another folder automatically. So figure out how to do it automatically, because you can do that. Then you will work on it. It's a difference between, so you want to write this down, the difference between being on demand and in demand. When you're on demand, you're like an emergency room. Anybody can come at any time. When you're in demand, you're like a cardiologist. We wait and we pay more money, right? I'm not saying that you don't have to serve your clients, but whoever said that we have to jump when people say, do something? It's a people pleasing. But guess what? You can still people please by asking us simple questions. Great. I'm happy to help you. When do you need it? Because I'll tell you, when I was in the lending business, I was at a baseball game and I was sitting in 100-degree weather with my computer, blowing on it so it didn't blow up, right? And, I can get it. I gotta get this letter out, right, to this thing. This realtor was asking for a letter, and then I finally sent it. And I'm like, yay, I sent it. And they go, okay, great. We're not going to be presenting till next Tuesday. But we do this all the time, right? So the difference between being on demand and being in demand. You control your time. So the laundry thing is that it's much more easy, it's much more efficient when you can do things in compartmentalized times. Agreed? Yeah. I'm going to give you another analogy. You're doing Christmas cards, right? And the first card, you're like, oh, I just love everybody and everybody's great, right? And then you stuff it, and right? And then you get the stamp and you put it on and you get your little return thing and you're looking up the number. Oh, that's her address. It's so cute. By the time you're at the 7th one, you're just going, love ya, love ya, love ya, love ya. Right? Stamp, 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 sprawl them out so they don't smear, right? You get a washcloth or whatever and you're going, no more licking, right? None of that. Because when you do like-minded activities, all in a row, you become more efficient. So do like-minded activities all at the same time instead of task switching, constantly task switching, right? And we're going to be sharing a little form that I use. But anyway, so I wanted to get the high level of the laundry thing to help you understand, because listen, later on this week, you're like, Jen said I'm doing laundry by looking at my email. I got to stop doing laundry. I have a laundry list of things to do, right? So that's the first thing that I want to tell you about. Are you with me? Yes. Does that help that? Does that give some context? This is why I'm helping you, is just for context, okay? The second thing I want to tell you is about the schedule itself. I might want to go back to it. About the schedule itself. Okay, so depending on how many days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, depending on how many days you want to work, okay, my opinion is I only work 4 days. So you figure out what 4 days you want to work. If you're in an industry that requires weekend stuff or evening things, then you adjust it, right? And this is what I help my clients do. But one of the things that I found that's really good is to have themes. Have what? Themes. Oh, nice. Okay? So when I wake up Monday, wake up on Monday, I'm going to have a theme and go, hey, what am I doing? Okay, do you guys know that 95% of entrepreneurs wake up without a plan?
That sounds familiar.
Right? Come see, come saw, whatever comes my way, right? Wake up without a plan. So if I wake up and I go, Monday, what's Monday? What's Monday for me? So for me, this was Money Making Monday. I'm not saying it has to be yours. I'm telling you what I do. You could call it day 1, day 2. What is today? Day 3. On day 3, I do this. So I do Money Making Monday, and so for me, that's how I had that day. Tuesday was Touch Base Tuesday, can also be Testimonial Tuesday. Both ways. Both ways. Wednesday, Wealth Building Wednesday. For me. Okay, Wealth Building Wednesday. So this is when I'm calling my, what I call alumni clients. Okay, you can do touch base on this as well. So I did this in the last session. I'm just going to write it out for you too. What happens when you close business with someone? What do you call that person? A client? A current client? A past client? Okay, you've closed business. Huh? You call it Jen? You call it Jen? So here's the problem. People say past client all the time. When I see that, I hear this. You know, he's a past client. They're a past client of mine. And the thing is, they're still active, right? But that's a past client. So I call them this. Okay? Alumni, because what do alumni do? They stay connected, they come back, they tell everybody about you, right? I want it to be an alumni client. So instead of looking at your sales process like this, from end to end, and now they've passed away, your past client, right? Look at them as alumni, and so I always look at it as an infinity. And so if I break this out, this is your marketing side, everything that we've been learning, right? How do I get them into my world? And then this is your deliverable. This becomes your alumni to create loyalty so that you have this revolving door of constant referrals, okay? Because one of the reasons why your time is, you're challenged with your time is because you're chasing new deals instead of looking at the acres of diamonds that you already have in front of you. Right? You already worked really hard to get these. These people are going to work with you again. Yes, sir.
Can I add something to this?
Yes, of course you can.
So some mentor of mine said a long time ago, along these lines, to me, because I was thinking I needed more marketing. His comment to your point, Jen, was if you still had every single client that ever came through your door, how much more money would you have?
Absolutely.
It's sobering.
Yeah, and every client has a value, not today, but for the life of that client. Right? For the life of that client. So Wealth Building Wednesday for me is just a little different. You know, it's like I'm going to be calling, you know, maybe referral partners that fall into that category. Maybe, you know, someone I want to JV with. Maybe someone I want to have speak on my stage, you know, or maybe I'm going to be doing something else. So you have to figure out what these are, okay? Thursday for me is training day and video day. It's just what it is for me, training day and video. So I'm going to train, I'm going to do video. So for example, like Wednesday, not for me now, I'm just saying, so Wednesday is my coaching day. Like I only coach people on Wednesdays, right? Because then I'm in, right? Didn't I say about Christmas cards? Because I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll. And what's great about it is that then what comes out of my mouth becomes a theme for that day, right? And so it makes it easier because then I'm sort of, I hate saying this, but like I'm regurgitating the same stuff over and over, and that's okay. You know, because then that becomes my theme for the week. I even go to the extent of saying for the quarter, we're going to talk about sales, and for this next quarter, we're going to talk about relationships, and that way every single time I wake up, I go, what quarter is second quarter? We're talking about relationships. What week? Oh, we're talking about referral partners, JVs, clients. We're looking at those relationships, right? So breaking that out. And then Friday is follow through Friday. So this is where you're preparing for next week. Because I'm not driving someplace and having someone not show up. I'm not going to go get my hair ready, because we're women. I'm a woman. I'm not going to get my hair ready and be sitting in front of the video only to have someone not show up.
Oh, I hate that.
Right? It's too much wasted time.
Don't schedule it.
Yeah. So, are you with me so far?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have themes for the month, themes for the quarter, themes for the week, and the day, so that you can get in there and say, okay, what are the activities that I'm going to be doing? This is work on purpose so you can play with passion. And the way I look at this is not you, okay? And this is why you need a mentor to help you do this, because there's so many moving parts to this. But this is 4 o'clock. After 4, I don't work. Okay? Now, are there exceptions? Yes. Okay, my coach has coaching things at night. You know, I might have to accommodate someone on the West Coast, that kind of, or on the East Coast for you guys, right? So I may have to do it, but I don't work after 4 o'clock, with the exception of maybe one of the days will be my designated late night. Okay? My one designated late night. Hey, I'm sorry I'm not available this week. Not, I really was going to go with my kids and go to the recital, and I was supposed to have dinner with my husband, and I don't want to tell you. I have an appointment. I might get my nails done. Doesn't matter. I have an appointment. Hold your guns. Now, there's something I also call saying, don't erase it, replace it. Okay? So if on Monday you wake up and you say, okay, here, let me do this down here. On Monday you wake up, so now we go to time blocking, priority management, time blocking. When we go to Monday, so I do a huddle. I like doing huddles. And you can do a quick huddle. And a huddle is not a game. It's a huddle. It's like get in, get out, right? With your team, whoever you want to work with. Do your huddle. Do lead generating activities the first thing in the morning, or if your energy is not good the first thing in the morning, then don't erase it.
Replace it.
Do what? Replace it. Replace it and say, okay, well, I don't like this because I'm kind of an afternoon kind of person. That's fine. So do your lead generating activities in your theme. And that's why I was saying don't erase it, replace it. But right here, focus. But I think I had probably biatch. Okay. But do your lead generating activities here and know exactly who you're going to be calling. So as you're having a conversation with someone, right, you're saying, hey, I can talk to you next Monday at this time, not whenever, I'm free. There were times when I said, I can't do it because look at when you start doing time blocking like this and you have these blocks and and I color code everything, but when you know where they're at, then you can say I have Wednesday at this time or Tuesday at that time. Even though I have nothing here and they're like, you don't have Wednesday? Because as soon as you start, you're on demand, right? And it's hard to break that pattern later on. And I would sit there and go, God, I could be talking to them right now. I could be, right? So make sure that you know when that time is. But so now you say, hey, how about if I call you tomorrow at whatever, and you put their name here so that when you open up this calendar, it has the names there. You know who you're calling. This is one of the challenges that people have is that I don't know who to call. I don't know what to call. One of the strategies I was just talking about before, you've probably heard this, right, is the ABCs. Right, so there's 52 weeks in a year. Half of that's 26. There happens to be 26 letters in the alphabet. The first week of January and the first week of July, you call everybody in your database with the last name A. Second week, B. C. Oh, C. A, B, C, D, right? And you will get to everyone in your database twice a year. Simple, simple. The other thing is do the reverse of that and do ZYX. So the week that you do A, right, the first week you do A, you also do ZYX. So people with the last name Z, Y, and X, okay, you go online and you do a testimonial for them. You do a post for them. You make more than just like, okay? You do something so that you're reverse engineering that and you're getting to everybody. This is how you nurture and not neglect your database. Okay, you with me on that? Simple, simple strategy. So who are you going to call today? right? You're going to do your ABC calls here. Every Monday, do ABC calls. So now you know what you're doing and you're moving the business forward. It's working on purpose. Okay, and then you go out and you network. Maybe that's what you do is you network here. Maybe you're calling your alumni clients here, you know, or it's an anniversary of something. Maybe you're calling your referral partners here. So in that day, if I'm going to call referral partners, I might only call people that have to do with JVing. Okay, this is where I said you have to be just as good to yourself as you are to your business. And by the way, we get phone calls and we're like, I need to take a phone call, right? Because I've already done that. So I love responding to people, and you can put this in your text, right? You can set up a thing that says whatever. Just don't use a word that you're going to use all the time because it might catch everything you do. But you just do a quick little response word that says, hey, I'm in a meeting right now, even if you aren't. What does it do when you say you're in a meeting? You're in demand. Oh, they must have other clients, right? I'm in a meeting right now. Now, our tendency in the service industry is to say, well, maybe they're too busy. Maybe they won't call back. But here's where the magic happens. I'm in a meeting right now. Can I call you back this afternoon between 2 and 4? Because this is when I call people back, right? So whatever you're doing. Could I call you? Would it be okay if I called you back between 2 and 4 when I'm in front of my computer and I can dedicate 100% of my time and attention to serving you? I control it. And I've never had someone say, I don't want you to dedicate 100% of your time and attention to serving me. They've said, can I be number one? Yeah, you can. Put it in there. Who am I calling first? This person. With me? So it's, can I call you back between this and that when I'm in front of my computer and I can dedicate 100% of my time and attention to serving you? Super, super easy. My calendar, not theirs. The other thing is when you're doing a time block, so let's say this time block is calling prospects, okay? Or let's just say it's whatever it is, communication. You have other little time blocks within that time block. Making sense? Okay? So I'm not going into this time block in there and saying, I'm calling a prospect, I'm calling an alumni, oh, I got to call that one person on that thing, I got to check out that thing and call them, and then I got to call them. You're doing like-minded inside of like-minded. It's a double dip. So I'm only calling prospects because that is in my mind, okay, I'm having strategy calls. And then when I'm done with that, I'll go into another time block that is of relevance to that and say, oh, I'm going to call people that have questions. Okay, instead of this constant task shifting. And then guess what? Your day is done. Day is done, gone the sun. Yeah. Are you following me? Any questions on this? Any comments about it? Any concerns about executing on this? Again, don't erase it, replace it. Your kids call and, oh my God, the kids are sick. Don't erase it, move it someplace else. Always, always be doing it because otherwise you get way behind. Yes?
Is there an app or a time management system that you like to be able to do that and stuff?
I don't use any of them because I like to control my thing. They know. She knows. It's so color. It's color code. No, it's on my computer. Outlook. Yeah, it's all color coded. Yeah, it's all color. I mean, I probably have 20 different colors for 20 different things because one of the things I like to do is that when and I can't do this here because we don't have enough colors, right? But if I'm looking at my calendar, let's call this one color, right? And I'm looking at it and I see, so, you know, I'm getting my nails done, right? I'm doing something with my family, right? Over here, I'm trying to make money. Right, if I'm looking at my calendar, I'm going, here, let me put another one in here. Whew. What does that tell you?
Taking a lot of time.
Taking a lot of personal time, which is okay, but, I better make sure that I've got this, you know, enough of that going on too, and that's why I like the color coding, because then I can look and say, oh, I have green, I do green time as money, anything money making.
In Gmail, in a Google Calendar, I should say.
Can you?
You can.
I do it in Outlook.
Yeah.
I do it in Outlook. Yeah.
But yeah, we do it out.
It's still available.
Yeah, it came back.
I do it in Outlook, yeah.
It was great. I used Outlook like 20 years ago.
The color coding?
25 years ago, I used Outlook for everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then Outlook got like weird. And so then I dished it.
Yeah,
and now it's back.
yeah. Well, it updated, and now it's got a new system. But yeah, yeah. I just think. Well, look, when I started color coding, we had calendars, and I would highlight, and that's why I say stick to your guns. Right, daytimers, and I just stick to your guns because I had the cute little Easter color highlighters, and I would go in and highlight it this color, and that meant, and I couldn't erase it. So I was like, well, I can meet you here or 2 weeks from here. Right? You know when to make exceptions, but don't make too many exceptions. So when you guys are talking about this laundry list and you said you have too much to do, you have a laundry list, I swear to God, all of you, when I look at it, it's going to be neat, different things. I want you to go in and move them to these themes.
I want to
Right.
highlight grouping.
Yeah,
One thing
grouping.
That I didn't hear Jen say, but I want to highlight with the example here. Recognize that she's got time blocking and appointments in the calendar for personal things.
Yes. Yeah, I said that in the beginning.
People
Yeah.
think they've got to fill their calendar, and every spot gets filled with only business, and then the most important things in your life get neglected.
Yeah.
Recognize.
Yeah, that has to be
there's
first.
Personal moments in the middle of your day, and it's okay.
Yeah. It's, here's the, well, and of course for me, I'm getting out at 4 because guess what I'm doing? Dancing. Right? I'm going to dance. I'm going to the studio. I have an appointment with myself. I don't know what to do, right? Whatever that saying is, right? No, I totally agree with you. Now, some of my clients, I go, show me your calendar, and guess what it is? I got an appointment here, and I got an appointment here, and then this says to pick up my dog, and then this says go potty, and this says this. Visually, I'm going to kill myself. You can't do this. This will stress you out. That's why you have to have the block, and if you want blocks inside of the block, if it's like-minded. So this is prospecting, right? This is serving. So one of the things that I'm going to share with you is, and I have this in my book, Launch, How to Take Your Business to New Heights. Finder, minder, grinder. The whole book is broken out like this, okay? So what are your finder activities? What are your minder and grinder? Now, I'm not a fan of every 15 minutes. I went potty, I got coffee, I just, okay. I had a prospect call. That's under the finder. The finder is the person who's making the money. Green time, okay, for me. Minder, for me, is yellow time because I'm making people happy. That's what I do for mine. Grinder is blueprint time. Don't do that during the workday. Don't do the mundane things, right? Delegate that to someone, sure. Okay, so now I go, okay, I talked to a new prospect. Check. Oh, I talked to 3. Check. Right? I answered questions, right? Or whatever, questions over here, question. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh, look at all the questions I'm answering. That's a sign. That's a sign. Why are they calling you and asking questions? Why don't you have a process to call them? What are the questions? Could you put a frequently asked questions out? And you're saying, gosh, look where I'm spending all my time. No wonder I'm not making the money I want because I'm spending it all in minding. Someone else needs to be doing this. So it's just a matter of saying, I went networking, right? I went to one networking event, whatever a finder activity is. Okay, it's lead generating activity. This is fulfillment, and this is grinding stuff. Like I got to do a report, I got to file my taxes, I got to talk to my CPA, I got to look at that contract, right? All of those things. Is it making sense? What we do all day long is we're like finder, minder, grinder, finder, mind, grinder, finder, minder. I don't know what I'm doing, and we're just freaked out. Whoops, yeah. We're just, you know why I'm doing that? Because it's white on white. And that's what we're doing. So what I'm saying is when you do your time blocks, finder block, minder block, minding the business. Yeah. Delegate. You're the one who does these. Yeah.
And what we fear, or what is the most difficult for us, we will avoid. So when the things that...
This is why we spend our time here.
Right, and so often we end up not wanting to do the cold calls, not wanting to pick up the phone. So all of a sudden we'll be in binder mode non-stop.
Yeah.
Or
Minder.
just-
What-
we have fires.
Yeah, for some of you that are younger, but there was a cartoon and he goes, "Come here, my babe, I'm gonna hold you and cuddle you and call you George," right? And all he did was walk around with his stuff. And that's what we do, where we're like, only me. By the way, only I can do this. Nobody else can do it like me. But I have to tell you, as your volume goes up, right, as your business starts going up, it's a law of diminishing returns. Your ability goes down because you have too many things going on. Yes, you were 100% at one point. Now you're operating at 50%. So why in the heck wouldn't you hire somebody who functions at 65? They're better than you. You're not as good anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't want to be good at everything.
That's part of delegating. Nobody can do it better than me. Nobody can do it better than me. I probably just give it to me. Just let me do it. Just let me do it. You have to stop doing that. And that's a whole other thing. We don't have time to go into like all of those aspects. But is this getting there? Is this something you think you can do? Yes? Say yes? Good. This is something you can do. It definitely is something you can do. So these are just some strategies of figuring out where am I spending all my time now. Wherever she'll come back, wherever Mel is. I don't know where she's. But we have a little form we're going to hand out for you. So you guys, you can do it on a piece of paper, okay? But I'm giving you a piece of paper that you. We'll get it there in a minute. Oh yeah, if you want to start. Thank you. Just hand it to somebody. For you to literally start doing this tomorrow, today. If you guys are making phone calls in between things, then start doing it. What is taking my time? I'm going to tell you a quick story. So in our industry, we have this guy, Barry Habib. We had this guy, Barry Habib. And back then, these are when the guys wore suspenders, 3-suit, whatever, and suspenders. And I was one of the few women in it. And I would go to these conferences with Barry, and these guys were getting up with their pagers, and they're like, "Oh, look at me, a pager." Right, and they're running around and they look all popular and everything. And I said to my husband, I said, "Oh my God, these guys are just killing it. I want to be killing it. I want to be killing it." So I said, "Hey, honey, I'm going to this thing. I want you to page me 20 times, right?" So I'm in there and my pager goes off and I'm like, "Oh, look at me." And then I go out in the hall and I don't do anything, right? And then at that time when there was a break, we all had to stand in line to wait for the payphone. Right? So I'm standing in line. Yeah, I'm important because I'm in the line. And I put my money in and I call and I go, hi, this is Jen. How can I help you? And he goes, "Hey, honey, it's me." And I go, "Can you get diapers?" "Yeah, that I can definitely help you. I definitely can help you with your loan. Don't forget to get some lettuce too." Right? Anything to look like them. Later, those same men worked for me. And I said, "Aha. Your business has control of you. You don't have control of your business." So that's why I said, you poor thing, the glorification of busyness. When I can go somewhere and the only time I got a phone call was for a referral. I didn't even get phone calls. It was a game for us. Someone calls me about the status and I'm fired. I'm fired, right? How many times have you gotten a doctor's thing and you have to call them and go, "Hey, what are the results? What are the results?" You're either depositing or taking away from, withdrawing from the trust account. And that love-o-meter that people have, right? That point in your process where people are just so much in love with you. They've made the decision to work with you. They love something about you're closing the business and they love you, but we have to keep that love-o-meter up. And it means being on the offense, not on the defense. It means leaning into your business, not leaning away from your business. It means making that quick phone call. You know when the client's getting nervous. You know when they're about ready to, so call them. When we looked at our process, that we have our full, automated process and stuff, we had a white mark across it when it was written out, and it said anticipate. Anticipate the needs of the client. Don't let them call you. Have it be a game, because if they call you, you've lost. You want to call them, so you better block some time to call them. Figure out when they're there. Is that making sense? Okay. Am I getting there?
Yeah, you got there.
Okay. Theme, priority. Okay. So for you, I'm going to do it here. For you, Scott, for you, and I showed this in the other thing, but it's called the 3 V's. Okay, the 3 V's. And so what that is, so this is your process, okay? That's your process. And in the beginning, everything is about you. Everything comes to you. Everything. Every new opportunity, everything comes to you. Everything. With me? You're it. Then you move to the next phase where you're trying to get out of the process. And so you hire 1 or 2 people. But what happens here is that you manage the process. That's why you can't get out. Okay, you've hired people, and you're like, well, I have people here. But then you're like, did you do? Are we doing, did you do? How, do we follow up? I don't trust you. Maybe I should do it myself. Which, by the way, is a killer job. You know, if my boss is just going to do all my work, I'll just let him do all my work, right? Right?
So much better than you.
So what you're doing is you're managing the process and you're managing people. Then we get to the phase where you're up here, further away from the process, and you still have people, and maybe you have a few more, but we have to inject something in here. And my suggestion to you is to inject it here so that you can grow it rather than doing it down here. But the 3 V's are vision. What is the vision for your company, and does your team know? What are the values that you have for your company? I talked about values earlier today, but I was talking about personal values. So how do they differ from what your values? So for me, a non-negotiable is if a client calls and asks us the status, that's not going to fly. Okay? So what are our values? What are our team values, my company values? And what is my voice? And this is the hardest one. This is the hardest one to get out of because they want me, right? And we kind of walk around with this little chip on our shoulders like, they want me because it's me, and I do everything perfect, except I'm not anymore, right? But I'm doing everything perfect. They want me. And so you have to get this team to understand what that vision is so that everyone's speaking from the same place and on the same page. The team to understand what those core values are of that company. And this voice is really killer. What is your voice? Are you formal? Are you informal? Are you comedic? Do you tend to text? Do you tend to whatever? You've got to provide everyone with a script. You have to provide everyone with the vision of what you want in that business so that people say, it was like talking to you. I can't tell you how many times, I did a ton of loans, okay? I can't tell you how many times I would look at a report and say, who's this? And they go, oh yeah, we already took care of it. Didn't even know I had a client, right? Which was another problem. But didn't even know that I had someone because they would just call my team because it was like talking to me. So do you use language? What is your language? What are your language patterns? Like for example, one of the things that Paul says all the time is component. Right? He uses the word component. So that has to be in the voice. You have to train for this. And then what happens is that everyone now works for the business, right? Everyone. And your job is to take care of it. So everyone is working for the business. You're not managing people. Everyone's managing the process in their role as finder, minder, grinder. Make sense? What's your vision, what are your values, and what's your voice now? So that you aren't, I can't do it yet. Because as soon as you bring these people on, it means more time and more money and more heartache. And guess what happens? They go home at 5 and you stay till midnight. So the sooner you can get this and bring people on that recognize this, the faster you can scale. I call this smart scaling. The 3 V's, smart scaling, because this is literally how I scale. I had to get out of my own way, but in order to get out of my own way, I had to take the time to teach people what we were all about. So for example, when you go to, I know you have when you go to like, I don't eat fast food, thank you. When you go to like McDonald's, they go, what do you want? Or whatever, can I take your order, right? But when you go to Starbucks, they say, what can I get started for you? When you go to Chick-fil-A, which I don't eat that either, but when they leave, what do they say instead of thank you?
My pleasure.
My pleasure.
What?
That's, yeah, so then my pleasure. Yeah. By the way, there is an app, and Chick-fil-A has the highest calories of all fast food. So do you yeah, I know, that's why. So it's because of all the oil. So do you understand voice? Do you think that, even when you go into Walmart, welcome to Walmart, right? Or whatever, Costco, or whatever. They can't scale if everyone doesn't talk the same language.
Right, right.
That makes so much sense.
They can't scale if everyone understands the values. And this is one of the reasons why we love Starbucks or we love whatever brand, because when we go there, we get the same exact experience. It doesn't have to be Sam Walmart or Sam Walton, whatever. It doesn't have to be him. But he had to implement that to be able to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What is it specifically about delegation that I haven't addressed for you?
Question, when it was time to, hand off the key clients or key
Yes.
referral sources
Yeah.
to your next person,
Yeah.
the right-hand
Yeah.
lady, was it, hey, I ripped off the Band-Aid? Was it a 24-month process?
Right.
Me, then us, then her?
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are probably ready to rip off the Band-Aid and hand something off to somebody
Yeah.
else. But what did you use?
Yeah, okay, so my most close referral partners, I had a meeting with them and said, okay, listen, here's what's happening. Thank you, because of you, my business is growing. But I don't have infinite energy. And in order to provide you with the level of service that you've come accustomed to experiencing, it's time for me to grow, and I'm going to bring on some team members. But I have trained them properly. It'll be just like talking to me. Okay, it'll be just like talking to me. And I wanted you to know, because you're special in my business, and I want to make sure you knew before anybody else did, right? So it's like puffing up them and yes, one-on-one, just one-on-one with them to make sure that they know what's happening. And then you have to have check-ins in your process. So one of the things I used to do, and I think anybody could do this, is just call during your process as the finder, right? Because they're minding. And you're huddling with them so you know what's going on. But call during the process and say, what's keeping you up at night? What are we not doing for you that you would like for us to do for you? Instead of waiting till the end and saying, can I have a testimonial? Do course correction, right? Are we taking care of you? Are you getting what you want from us? Is this the expectation? Is there something that's not going smooth? And that'll help you continue to be able to change your process so that everyone can, work toward that. Every month we said, what went right, what went wrong, and what do we need to work on? What went right? Because we want to celebrate the wins, but we want to know what's wrong, and then what do we need to change? Is it a one quirky person who I don't want to work with, or is it, does that make sense? Okay, then handing off. When you hand off to these people, this is not a hand down or a hand over, it's a hand up. They are better than me. Oh my gosh, I can't wait till let me introduce you to my team. He is great. She is great at what she does. I used to be great. You don't have to say that. I used to be great, but you're down here now, right? You used to be. I used to could. But so I used to be great. But let me tell you, Susie is going to take care of you like nobody else. This is her bailiwick. She loves it, right? We were talking today about that blue thing or whatever, when Frank was talking the other day and he's talking about websites and Web3 and blah, blah, blah. I shut off because it's not my thing. It's not my thing. I looked over at Mel and I go, your thing? And she goes, my thing. I said, okay, good. So I'm going to hand up. So my suggestion is to avoid the word assistant. No one wants to work with an assistant. Give them a title. I have an operations director who's my assistant.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Production partner,
Yeah.
manager, team manager, whatever it is. Give them a title that levels them up as well. If you can, well, this is my assistant, and they're going, yeah. So level them up a little bit. Right? Does that help you for that? You get that handoff. That handoff is just, and I can talk more, but yeah, that handoff is key. Any comments or any questions? Because I know we're getting towards the end. Has this been helpful? This comment. I think you had one too.
I've gone through this process I have a second to a group of support power coaches that support my clientele. And in introducing them and passing that handoff, it's always about building them up and making sure that my clients know they're not being passed off.
They're passed.
Being built up and
Yeah.
given to one of my best people. My right-hand guy, he's right here. He is just powerhouse. He's got all the background and all the knowledge to be able to support
That's
me.
exactly it.
Watch what happens, and
But watch
one
it.
of my best guys- one of my coaches has been with me for 13 years or something, and he was a great example because every time I talked, we would spend on the early time specific, like every week on the phone, so that he would hear my voice.
Yeah.
And I would train him as heavy as I could.
Okay.
train my clients.
Yeah.
And him hearing my voice, so that over time, I invested early so that I had a 13-year track record of someone who absolutely was like talking to me. Matter of fact, everyone he knew
Yeah.
called him
Keith.
Paul.
This
You
is
know?
Keith. Yeah, Keith. And I know it's
was-
Keith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so doing that, and now I'm in that middle of replicating that and building my next Keith.
Yeah, you're next Keith.
And
It's not even Paul anymore. It's just Keith. Yeah. Okay, so two things. One thing that he said. One thing here. Ideas. Too many ideas. Shiny object syndrome. I think that, and there's a lot of strategies out there, you know, when you get something that's presented to you, the first thing is look at your core values. Does this align with your core values? Because if you want to do something just because it sounds good and it doesn't align with your core values, then I would say let it go, you know. But putting it on a parking lot, saying, yes, I want to do this, but I don't have the time or the resources to do it now. I don't want to forget about it, but yes, you know, and is it important to where I'm at now? You know, if you're going downstream, I know I'm overlapping on all this, right? But if you're going downstream and you're here, don't buy something that you need way down there. Right? Do I need it today or do I need it later, and put it on your parking lot? The 50-10 that I wrote here, when you're training someone to learn you and your language, 50 minutes of them observing and you don't even talk to them. They observe you for 50 minutes. They write down everything. Why did you say this? How come you said that? What's this mean? What, da, 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 da. No interruptions. And then they have 10 minutes for you to answer questions. So they're hearing everything that you say. They're hearing it over and over and over. Because what we do is we go, hey, let me show you this thing. It only takes 2 minutes. Then 3 hours later, you've gone down some freaking rabbit hole, right? And guess who gets to go home at 5? Guess who doesn't? So when you're training someone and bringing them on, you don't stop your job. They observe and 10 minutes, and then observe 10 minutes, observe 10 minutes. Thank you. 50 and 10 minutes of asking questions. They cannot ask questions in between. You just do your thing. That's you know, you're listening. They're listening to you say, well, oh, let's have a strategy session. Let's have a discovery call. Whatever your words are, they're learning your words.
Most of my team members, they'll spend a week with me and just be willing to pay for people just to sit there and do nothing. It is the best money you'll ever spend. And so my team members just shadow me for a
Just
week.
letting everybody know it's here.
And so then they like understand the business, understand what I do, understand when I say, hey, this is it. They understand what I'm talking about because they watch me do it for a week.
Yeah, that's a great way to get your voice. And I do have, I didn't bring it, but I do have the smart scaling, like the 3 V's, how to identify that, right? What is my voice? And I ask you questions. If you guys want that, just let me know, you know, get with me. The best way to get in touch with me is Instagram. It really is. Just DM me there and I'll respond to that. So I said I had some books. Here's the deal. This book is a fiction book. It's a love story Hallmark movie, but it has undertones and innuendos for the trials and tribulations I went through. People told me I can't. I said maybe I can't. Maybe I can. Am I not so good? Wait a minute. Get out of my freaking way. Right? So that's more for women. But if you is there like sand out there? Is it a sandstorm? Okay. So if you want that, fine. If you want to get that for a woman in your life, that's fine. Impact book. And Paul's in this too. This is all acronyms. There's a variety of them. There's some really famous entrepreneurs in here as well, and you can I interviewed them, etc. We're doing the volume 2, so if you have an acronym you want to share, talk to me about being in the book. You'll be a #1 bestseller. It's guaranteed. So we have those as well. And I think we have more in there. I think, yeah, so you can come and get which one you want. Has this been helpful? All right, what did you take from it? Can you guys just yell out what you took from it? What's the one aha?
The time blocking. The
Time blocking. Time blocking, what? Color coding. Handoff. Schedule themes. Yeah, hey, what's today? Tuesday. Oh, this is my data, blah, blah, blah. Okay,
like
good.
that a lot.
What did you say? Time blocking? Yeah. Time blocking? Okay, good. You can do this, right?
Yeah, now I think I can.
Okay.
Earlier I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think. Please don't make me carry these books home. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I mean, go ahead. ABCs.
It's the first week in January and the first
Week in July.
July. And then what did you reverse order it?
X, ZYX. So it's the first week of January and the first week of July, but instead of ABCs, you go online and find your ZYXs and do testimonials. Or share stuff, yeah. Yeah, nurture on them. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm always available. Just give me a call. Yeah, you're welcome.